Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we will be looking at another Peter Turner slash Pigcake products because we will be unpacking a lot of these recently because I did buy all of them when they came out. So I will be reviewing them progressively. It won't be everything I'm going to be reviewing for the next month or so, but they will be sprinkled in probably weekly until I get through all of them. And this is the one that kind of spurred the most talk and the most discussion because of the fact no one actually knows what this is from the trailer and from the ad copy. And we are of course talking about the Dot by Pigcake and Peter Turner. So I will be unpacking what this is for you so that you really get an idea of whether or not this is something you would buy. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, you decided to stick around, which means you want to learn more about the Dot. So what is the Dot? That is the million-dollar question because the ad copy and trailer don't do it justice. So performing the Dot for me is impossible because this only works with actual spectators. But as you know, I want to give you the best possible idea of what this effect is. So I'll do kind of a mock-up presentation with two invisible spectators, just so you get an idea. So what you're going to explain is that one of the spectators that feels they have a bigger intuition or that they feel that they have a kind of a sixth sense or anything like that to just raise their hand. They come up with you and they stand next to you and you tell them that they're going to be doing this effect. And all they're going to be doing is they're going to be staring at the dot. So you would take your pen and you would make a dot in the middle of the card and you tell them, look, in a second, you're going to take this and you're going to focus on the dot, but leave it there for the second. Then I'm going to need another spectator. In this case, we'll do it with cards, but it can be done with names, with numbers, with whatever you want. And say, so perfect. What we're going to do with you is this. In a second, I'll just have you touch a card. So what you're going to do is we're just going to go like this, and you just say stop at any point. Stop right here. Excellent. We'll cut right at this point and take a look at that card. The spectator will take a look at that card and then place it back. I don't know if I showed it to the camera. If I showed it to the camera there, I hope I did, but trust me when I say that this would work. And then you'd say to the second spectator, you were closing your eyes while he was selecting a card. You have no idea what that card is. Am I correct? There's no way that you could possibly know. But I want you to take this, the card with the dot, and just stare at the dot. Take it and just stare at the dot profusely until you see kind of scribbles or you see kind of an imprint or you see something appear around, near, or on the dot that could tell you what the card is. Tell me when you have it. They'll say yes, and then you tell them, excellent. So you selected a card. You still remember it. Do not say it. You were closing your eyes the whole time while he was doing that. You have no clue what that card is. But you felt something, you got an imprint, you saw something, like a scribble on that card with the dot, correct? What did you see? He's going to say the ace of hearts, and you're going to get a reaction because it's an ace of hearts. As I said, it doesn't have to be cards. It can be numbers, can be names, can be words, can be whatever you want. And that is what the dot is making a second spectator guess or intuit or see something that another spectator from across the room is doing. So whether they chose a word from a book, whether they generated a random number, whether they selected a card, whatever it is, you'll be able to have them say what that is just by staring at a card with a dot in it. So that is the main routine. So now that you understand what the main routine is and what the effect actually is, let's get into where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So you can buy this similarly to the other product I reviewed from Pigcake and Peter Turner, anywhere where digital downloads are available, whether it's your big hard-hitting companies or your small local companies. If they sell video downloads, you can buy this on there. It will set you back 25 USD, which is around 35-40 Canadian dollars. And what do you get with your purchase? You're going to get a video that's, I think, slightly under 2 hours with Pigcake. So yes, it says Pigcake and Peter Turner, but Peter Turner just shows up at the end for kind of a quick interview. But for 90% of this video, you are with Pigcake, and Pigcake will walk you through everything that you need in order to understand, learn the effect. He'll give you the history. It's well shot. It's easy to understand. He explains it in very easy, intricate fashion. There's multiple camera angles. Everything is really direct and simple to follow for the effect. They also talk about what's important is that what happens if a spectator speaks out, or what happens if he points out certain things, or what happens if they cover that in the videos as well and they tell you how to get through it. But if you use the language that I've used or the language that they propose to you, you should not have those issues come up, because as you have guessed, there is multiple principles going on in this effect. And if ever one of the spectators may talk, specifically the one that reveals the information to others in a more direct way than what you've been saying, or if you don't talk correctly, the method may start to fall through the cracks. So it is important to know that, but it is covered in the instructional. So now let's get into difficulty. How difficult is this to perform? Fundamentally, this is incredibly easy to perform. Fundamentally incredibly easy. But to get it to work, to get it to be deceptive, to get it to be fooling, to get it to be an interesting piece of mentalism, I would place this intermediate. Not because there's knuckle busting moves or anything like that. It is bare bones in simplicity. But as with all mentalism effects that you want to play hard, because this is an effect, if done right, that could fool even some of the best magicians out there. And I'm not even kidding. But it has to be done correctly, which means the language has to be precise. The movements, the motivations have to be justified and precise. And that is where the work will come into. So overall, simplicity at its finest, but will require work on the pattern, scripting, etc. in order to make it deceptive and beautiful. Now, let's get into the practicality. So what do you need in order to perform this? What you need is a piece of paper. So, preferably a billet, because billets have certain properties that will help you. So billets, a pen, it doesn't have to be a Sharpie, it can be a pen, whatever. So just some billets, a pen, Sharpie, and that's pretty much it, because you can do this effect fully just with that. If you're very good at psychological ploys, you can do it without a deck of cards, without a book, without an app, without a Sven pad, without an XYZ, okay? So if you're good at that, you can literally have a single business card, a pen that you do a dot on, and achieve this effect fully verbally. But obviously that one is advanced level. But if not, as long as you have a deck of cards, an app, anything you want with you, you can do this effect with just very minimal props that you probably already carry around with you at gigs or when you go out anyway, if you perform when going out. So carrying capacity is great. In terms of reset, the reset is instant. You can basically, it is not always the same outcome, which is also nice, which means that if you do put maybe 5 seconds into the reset, every single time you perform this, it's going to be different at every single table, which is a very big bonus. The reset is either non-existent if you do it with the same outcome, or if you change the outcome, it's a small reset. In terms of inspectability, the deck is inspectable, whatever prop you use is inspectable, and even the card that they tell you with the dot, he gives you ways to make it inspectable if ever there is a need for that. He tells you ways in order to achieve it, okay? So technically everything could be inspectable here. In terms of a table, you do not need a table for this at all. It can be done standing up. In terms of angles, the angles are pretty good. They could basically be 360 degrees for this effect, so the angles are also very good. Now let's get into where do you perform. So where would you perform this? This can be done anywhere. As long as the light conditions are in your favor, you can do this pretty much in parlor stage or close up. It will work perfectly in most scenarios for you. So now that we've unpacked that, what are the positives and negatives of this effect? Let's start out as always with the negatives. One of the negatives of the effect is that this is advertised as a Pigcake and Peter Turner, and even in the ad copy they say Pigcake and Peter Turner do a deep dive on this effect, but that's not true. It's Pigcake does a deep dive on this effect, with Peter Turner joining in for like 10 minutes to give some inputs. So it is important to know that if you're only buying this for Peter Turner, he's not in this as much as you would expect him to be. Okay, so that's one thing. It's not a complaint. It's just something, because I know some people will be like, oh, but I paid for Peter Turner. Why is he not the one teaching me? So just be aware of that before. And another thing is that, as I said, it is in certain cases a ballsy effect, because if you don't choose your spectator correctly, if you don't practice enough, if you don't rehearse it enough, the method will be so transparent that everyone will know how it works by just this spectator that's doing the mind reading speaking out at any point in the routine. So it is important to really practice it and do it correctly. In terms of positive, it's a very fun routine. If done correctly, as I said, with practice, with care, this could fool really big names in Magic because of its simplicity and its deceptiveness. It's super adaptable, it's easy to carry around, it's easy to perform, it's easy to kind of explain to the spectator what's going. It's very nice because you just seem like you're doing nothing during the effect. You just seem like a mediator between the two spectators, essentially just putting a dot on a piece of paper, and the spectators are doing everything, which is really nice to have an effect where the spectators seem to be doing the magic and the scripting and everything. That, I think, is a major bonus. And of course, the video is well shot and really well done. So would I recommend the dot to you? If you are looking for kind of a spectator as mind reader effect that is relatively easy to do and that is very, very fooling if done correctly, I think this may be for you if you understand everything that I've explained up until now. If not, if you were like, oh, that's not for me, of course, I do not recommend it for you. But overall, I think this is good. Is this something that I have performed since I've bought it? The answer is honestly no. Is it something that I will perform? Maybe one day. But is it something that's going into my sets right now? Unfortunately, the answer is no. So because of that, I can't give it an 8 or higher. But this is still a good project. It's still a good ensemble of an effect that I think in the right circumstances, if I get the opportunity to do it where I have an idea of where to do it, I will perform it. But for now is giving a 7.5 on 10. I still think it's great. I still think it's good, but it's just not something that's in my repertoire now, or that shoehorned into my repertoire as some other effects do after I buy them or dissect them. So that's all I have to say about the dot. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I'll see you all in my next review. Have a good one, and bye-bye.